we're going to be doing character generation today for our D&D game, which we'll talk about after the fact. We'll kind of set up a day and time. So today is going to be a guided process. I'm going to ask you questions as a group. You're going to come up with the character that you're going to play during the game. The game is going to be a traditional high fantasy game, so think of any kind of setting that Lord of the Rings, anything you can think of, maidens and swords and dragons and all that stuff will be part of the game. It's going to be kind of a tailored experience to kind of go along with our theme of helping sick kids, and that's all I'm going to tell you. So,
I have a question.
Yes.
What is high fantasy? Is there is a qualifier, so there's a low fantasy?
High fantasy includes magic, and you think of the Arthurian legends. I would go. That's kind of
Lord
a
of the Rings
low
would
fantasy.
be a high fantasy.
Exactly. Low fantasy is more like traditional medieval, knights and swords, but no magic, no elves, no dwarves, no halflings, any of that stuff. So
we're learning already.
Yes.
I know.
So Lord of the Rings will be a good guide for you. I mean, that's a pretty prototypical fantasy setting. A lot of D&D is based off of Tolkien's work, so you'll get that feel as we kind of go forth. I'm going to be taking a lot of notes, and I'll have to write stuff down. I'm not going to have you guys write anything down, but I am going to have you roll some dice today, so be prepared for that. If you roll poorly, it's more interesting, so feel free to let it go.
Some scary ass dice right there.
Yeah, have you guys ever even seen D&D dice before? So this is a traditional set of D&D dice. There are 20-sided dice. You're going to roll this one a lot. Whoa. Goes from 1 to 20, and you've got a 12-sided dice right here, 8-sided, 6-sided. These are 10-sided dice, and a 4-sided dice. The most common one will be this one, and we'll kind of cover mechanics at some point so you understand how things work.
And are we playing as individuals or as teams?
Well,
it's us against you.
Right. Right.
It's like that.
D&D is typically, I'm going to be the dungeon master. Okay. So the dungeon master personifies everything in the world other than the four of you. You're each going to have a character that you are creating today. With that character, you're going to have to portray that character. You don't necessarily have to talk in voices or anything like that. Costumes are required, so you will have to wear one for the...
Kirsten's making them all.
Perfect.
So excited.
So you'll be acting as that character. So when something happens, the expectation is you react as your character. Whatever you thought your character is, would react. Exactly. We're on, right? And I will be portraying everything else. So I will be the tavern keeper. I will be, the guy you run into on the street. I will be the monsters you fight. I will be the king that you're working for. And everybody else will be portrayed by me. So it's a storytelling process. It's all about going back and forth and using your imagination. So hopefully you'll have fun.
And you have an imagination.
And you have an imagination. I've played with some non-imaginative people, and they have just as much fun, so don't worry about it. There will be tools to help guide you in the process. So the first thing we're going to do, I'd like to have everybody kind of go around the table and just say your name, give me what you thought today was going to be. Let's start with Matt.
All right.
My name is Matt. Got a last name?
You don't need it. That's fine.
And I think this was along the lines of what I expected.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Great.
Okay. I'm Megan. I'm looking forward to just a lot of laughs and weirdness and making fun of each other.
Sure.
All for the kids.
Right.
It's like every day.
I'm Kate, and I'm excited to know that we were going to actually be getting into some dice rolling today. I thought we were going to just be
talking.
being introduced.
Yeah, well, there'll be some interviews later, but we're going to kind of do this collaboratively, so it'll be traditionally when you create characters, there's a lot of it's just you doing something, so we're trying to make it more interactive.
I'm Kirsten. I am very excited to learn because I watched Stranger Things.
Excellent.
And there was a game in the beginning,
Yep.
and I'm really excited to learn more. And this is kind of what I thought it would be.
Good.
So
So I'll tell you, there's most likely not going to be a Demogorgon in this game.
I'm going home.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm out.
Right. All right. So the first place we start generally is this is the Player's Handbook. It's a very fancy book. There's lots of pictures and stuff that I'll be looking at, and you guys won't get to see because it's my book. So I'm gonna have everybody. We're gonna go down the process step by step. I'm gonna ask you each individually. I'll kind of give an overview of each step, and then you can start thinking. Somebody has a decision, then you jump in. I'll write it down. We'll move on. So the first thing we decide for characters is your race. So there's a number of races that exist in the world that we're playing in. The most common of which are humans, just your typical normal human person. You've also got elves. Elves are woodland creatures. They tend to be a little bit more dexterous and agile, a little less hardy than a human would be. We've also got dwarves. If you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, you remember what a dwarf is. Short, stocky, pretty thick. They tend to be bruisers, that kind of thing. And the other race that we'll have available is the halfling, which is the D&D equivalent of the hobbits from Lord of the Rings. They tend to be short, very quick, not very physically imposing, but they tend to be very they blend in. They're easy to overlook, that kind of thing. So anybody have a decision on what they'd like to play?
Elves. Elf.
Elf wants. Matt wants to be an elf.
Bunny
All right.
the elf.
I want to be a halfling.
Halfling. Okay. So that's Kate.
Can there
And
be two
you
of the
can
same things?
have more than anybody can play anything they want. There's
I want to
no.
be an elf too.
Okay.
My whole life.
That's all I ever wanted.
Dreams are coming true today.
Yeah, they
are.
I thought we were gonna roll dice. I'm like, I don't have a.
Roll a dice then.
There's
There's a 4-sided.
there's a 4-sided right.
Alright.
So there's humans,
Oh, I
elves,
have to pick some.
humans, elves, halflings, dwarves.
Humans, elves.
That's all 4.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's humans.
It's humans, elves, halflings, dwarves. Got it.
Okay, and then I roll it.
Roll it. So that's a 3. So that was humans, elves, halfling is number 3.
Oh, you have.
Oh, because 3 is down.
3 is down.
Okay.
Right.
I'm a halfling then?
All right. So
Okay.
2 halflings,
Kate,
2 elves.
interesting. Halfling, right?
I am.
Interesting. All right. So the next step we're going to go to is the class system. So class is basically your job. Classes are widespread. There's a whole bunch of different ones. I will go through them very quickly. We're going to, if you have questions about a specific class, feel free to ask. And if you have a thought in your head and you want to know what fits best with that, just let me know and I'll answer it. So the first class that's available is a barbarian. Barbarians are primitive people. They tend to be one of their main powers is rage. They go into these berserker rages like Kate does normally.
Yeah.
That's how she sees it.
That's gonna be a very telling experience.
It is. It's
You're gonna learn
really
a
going
lot
to
about
reveal a
each
lot.
You know your end of year review is coming up.
Yeah, surely.
Okay, so barbarians, they're warriors. They go into a rage. They tend not to wear a lot of armor. They just flex off everything.
Oh, that's
Sounds like
me.
The next one is a bard. Bards are the troubadours. They're the ones that kind of inspire their brethren into doing better in battle and kind of rousing the troops and that kind of thing. They have a lot of magical powers
I
that can
wanted to be
do
a
different
sword
things.
I'm hoping he's going to say sword.
The next one is a cleric. Cleric is a priest of a certain god. Clerics use holy power. A lot of times they're very effective against undead like zombies and vampires and stuff like that. They tend to be using healing powers, so they're helping their classmates survive. After a battle, they can heal. During a battle, they can heal. Very useful to have around. Druids are kind of like a cleric, but they're more nature focused. They tend to be friends with animals. They have a lot of nature-based powers, and they use similar magic, but more elemental than a cleric would use. So, like calling lightning and casting fire, and doing things like that. The next is the straight-up fighter. Fighters, knights, any kind of warrior. They sword and shield or battle axe, or if you think of Lord of the Rings, like who's a good fighter from Lord of the Rings?
Head of the Rohirrim.
Yes, yeah.
Gimli.
Yeah, Gimli the dwarf was a fighter. Just charge into battle, hacking and slashing. Monks. Monks are your traditional kung fu fighters. They don't wear any armor. They use martial arts a lot of times. They have mystic powers sometimes later in the game. Next we have paladins. Paladins are holy warriors. They use divine magic to fight better. They tend to be very protection focused. They're helping their allies survive and also do damage.
So similar to clerics.
Similar, but more fighting based.
More fighting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we have rangers. Aragorn from Lord of the Rings was a ranger. He's the tracker. He hunts with a bow and arrow. Very good in the wilderness, that kind of thing. Rogue. Rogue is a sneak. Think of Bilbo Baggins or Frodo. They sneak around. They steal things. A lot of times they try to get behind the enemy to use advantages against them. Then we have, I'm only going to allow one spellcasting class because the other two are pretty complicated and I just don't want, I think it'll bog people down. We'll use a sorcerer. Sorcerer is your traditional magic user. Throwing spells, fireballs, lightning bolts, teleportation, just different kinds of things that will use magic. They don't wear any armor, so they're kind of squishy, we call them. So they tend to stay behind, stay at the back of the party and throw spells into a battle, that kind of thing.
So question.
Yes.
Is there any advantage, disadvantage of us?
There is an
Dividing
inherent
conquering.
advantage to being a little diverse,
Right.
but
Alright, let's think about this, people.
if
I
you
want
want
to
to
talk to animals, so I want to be a druid.
Oh yeah, you're totally true.
I could have picked that one
Called it.
for Megan. All right, so Megan's going to be a druid.
I like the sounds of the rogue.
Sneaky.
Personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Try
right.
on something other than the barbarian.
Yeah.
Can I,
Feels natural.
It's a
can I be
range.
the Aragorn?
Yeah,
I forgot what you
ranger.
said. The
Yeah,
ranger.
absolutely.
Sounds cool.
Elves
Feels
and
like
rangers
you're
go
called
together
ranger.
very well. So
What's the healing one?
the cleric,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or
That seems like you.
All
I
right,
like
so we
that
got
one.
rogue.
the cleric
Everybody
or the
be
fighty
good.
cleric?
What's the fighting?
The
what's
paladin
the
or the paladin's more of a wears a lot of armor, but still can do some healing and that kind of thing. They're kind of a mix of a fighter and a cleric.
Let's do that
Okay, we'll do paladin.
one. Got a little sass.
Just you like armor.
Excellent. All right, so classes. So we've got a halfling druid for Megan. We've got a halfling rogue for Kate. We've got an elven paladin for Kirsten, and an elven ranger for Matt. It's a pretty good group.
You don't have to lie to us, James.
I'm secretly wrong.
What is happening?
Oh,
don't
no.
have a sorcerer.
No, you're fine. All right, so next thing we're going to do, we're going to roll some dice for ability scores. So the way D&D works is you have a set of abilities that kind of define your character. There's strength, which is obviously your physical strength. Constitution, how hardy you are. Dexterity, that's how nimble you are, how easy it is for you to kind of dodge things. Yeah, so you want to be dexterous. Intelligence is, how smart you are. Wisdom is not necessarily being smart, but being kind of streetwise. Like, okay, I may not be the smartest guy, but I know to come in out of the rain. So that kind of thing. And then the last thing is charisma. Charisma is your personal magnetism, how well you get along with people, how easy it is for you to talk other people into doing things. So the way that we're going to do this is you're each going to roll 6 sets of dice, and we're going to get 6 scores. And then I'm going to help you kind of place the scores in the appropriate places based on your class and race, so that you don't want to start with a character that's kind of not set up right, and it can be a little overwhelming to try to figure that out alone. So I will help you do that. So first, let me take a second, and I got to write a few things down based on your races. So,
So while he's writing that down, like think about what your character's personality is going to be like. Like, what are you, a sassy paladin? Like, are you an angry rogue? Right? I love the snapping paladin.
I'm a snappy elf.
no, you didn't.
Try and get back with your evil self.
Right.
Hopefully I can do that a couple times.
On triple.
Yeah, are you like the
Rhymes with danger.
Ranger Danger?
Ranger Danger. Sounds like a kid's show.
Ranger danger.
Stranger danger.
What are you?
And it has to be a personality that you can
Exude.
exude. Oh, nice. You should be intelligent.
So what?
Some
All right.
days.
Some days, yeah.
What are you? I'm a druid halfling.
You talk to animals.
I just picture you as like Snow White.
I
So
know.
you're playing yourself. basically.
Yeah. I would have to be able to sing and be Snow White,
Well,
and that is not
This
a
might
skill
be
I
your
have.
chance.
All right, Matt, let's start with you. So
Oh,
there's a
man.
dice tray right in front of you.
All right.
In that dice tray, there are 4 6-sided dice.
See them?
So what you're going to do is you're going to roll those 4 dice,
Ooh.
and you're going to
Good quality.
go ahead and roll them right in the tray. And you're going to throw out the lowest one. That's a pretty solid first roll. All right, so that's a 16. So it ranges from 3 to 18 is the range for your abilities.
Makes sense.
So that's the first one. That's a 16. So go ahead and do it again. We're going to do this 6 times
With the 4.
with 4. Throwing out the lowest one each time. Man. Okay. That's got it. Go ahead.
You like that?
What was that?
17.
666, the sign of the beast.
All right. 15.
Come on, Matty.
All right.
663.
Matty.
Yep. Got it. Go ahead.
One more.
3 more. 3 more. it's the angle. That's another 50. Man,
Happy with that one.
it's gonna be an OP group.
Come on, baby. Come on. So my dad used to.
Crazy.
This is when he rolls a 3. It's a 13,
4, 4, 5.
14. Yep. One more.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
There would be math involved in this.
I'm doing all the math for
Yeah.
you.
I
All right.
12.
appreciate you.
All right. So we ended up with a 17, a 16, and 2 15s, a 13, and a 12. I'll assign those appropriately so that you are kind of
You have
optimized.
skills.
Man's still
All right, Megan.
So good at
That
this.
is like the best of the best I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
real
good.
Well prepared to be unimpressed.
Normally you have. There we go. That's
As
an 8.
promised.
Okay. All right, that's another 8. Wow.
8 is my lucky number, but probably not for this.
Probably not for this.
Not in this game.
That's an 11. Okay. Go ahead.
So I'm not on Megan's team, right?
It's a 10. All right.
Is this my last one? Or?
Oh, you got 2 more.
Okay.
Halfling.
There you go. 17.
You said it like it was so disgusting.
Racist.
What's the corner? 4?
4, 4, 4.
So 12. All right.
That was the last one?
Don't
That
trust
was
him.
the last one. Yep.
I don't trust anybody.
There's no I in elf.
There's no I in elf.
That's true.
These are heavy.
That's true.
I know. It's valid.
All I can
Why?
picture is Buddy Hill. Or like Legolas.
Very well made.
12.
12. Okay.
14.
Okay. 15.
I like the wood the box was made out of.
And an 11.
You are fast.
Doing this since I was like 10, so I can't see the
14.
14. Okay.
She's making it up.
18. I see those ones. 8.
8. We didn't mirror it on
That
this.
is everything. So that's it. Yep.
Everything.
I know I need something above you guys.
Wait, do I need one of these? Or is
Nope,
it just these?
just
Okay.
4.
Oh, that's heavy. I just got really nervous.
No pressure.
Everyone's watching.
I'm
Everyone.
gonna close my eyes.
Don't mess with this.
13. Yep. 10. Okay.
Am I beating that yet?
Nobody's beating that ever.
12.
That is true.
Not today, Satan.
13. All right, we're done. All right. So that is it for ability scores. Normally in a game of D&D, a lot of players don't roll dice. There's a way to assign different values so you don't end up with a wide swing of things. Yeah, Matt, you're going to have a significant advantage. Not significant. You'll have a little bit of an advantage.
He needs all the help he can get.
Yeah,
so.
which
Probably.
maybe
That's what they told me to
He
give you the
does.
best. Yeah.
There's
There's a certain number of
weighted-
charges on the
There's a lot
dice.
of weight in those
Yeah.
dice. Is that what I mean by weighted dice?
Exactly. All right, so next, I'm going to go through each character and give you a little background on what your character can do and have you make a couple decisions to kind of guide your path. So normally with D&D, you start out at first level. You're a basic, you're just starting out on your adventuring career. What we're going to do for this game to keep it a little bit more interesting is we're going to start you a couple levels in where you have some more of your powers, your character's a little bit more developed. You're a little hardier, so I could throw some bigger monsters at you and just make it more fun. So let us start with Matt the Ranger. All right, give me just a second.
Ranger danger is all I hear in my head now.
One thing I will tell you to keep in the back of your head, you're going to need a name for your character. So,
This is the best game.
yeah, this is,
All my dreams.
and everything falls onto the name. So just start thinking.
So no pressure.
Jeez.
That's so
No pressure. No pressure.
Kate will be named Bob Marley.
No.
Okay, so Rangers.
No offense.
Rangers are trackers. There are different types of enemies you can be favored against, such as dragons, there's elementals, there's giants, there's goblins, undead, different. So any thoughts in your head, like what would you as a ranger want to be really good at hunting or tracking
Zombies.
and undead?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Is there a
Freak
reason
out.
that? Do you have a reason?
Is there a reason?
Yeah. Did undead
My wife
attack your
really is
family?
really scared of them.
Okay.
So I
Wife doesn't like
I will not.
undead.
And then maybe be in the good books.
There you go.
Score some points.
All right. So that is your favorite enemy.
Literally and figuratively.
One of the other things that you have as a ranger is a particular fighting style.
Mhm.
Some rangers like bow and arrows. They shoot people from a distance, like Legolas from Lord of the Rings. There's also defensive rangers that are more about like protecting their own skin, and then there's the two-weapon fighting ranger. Like you've got sword in each hand, or a sword and a dagger, and you're really mixing it up with the two weapons. Any of those particular
Bow and arrow.
Bow and arrow. All right.
I thought you were going to go for
So
the
we're gonna
last
do
one.
archery.
Nah.
The way he sold it.
Yeah, no, I knew that one already.
All right. So you're going to start with a couple spells, which are magic powers that you can use, and we'll kind of cover those before the game starts, but just keep it in your head that you're going to have the ability to use some basic spells, things that will let you befriend animals or track better or hide the tracks of your group. So you're going to have some abilities that will make you a little bit more impressive. And then
We're gonna need to make you a little bit more impressive.
yeah, it's true.
It's a
Best
game.
day ever.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
All right,
Bow and
so
arrow. Pretty
It
close.
is. It's pretty badass.
I'm going to say that you're probably going to fit into. There are two different styles of rangers. There's a hunter. He's very good at hunting
I
down.
see myself as that.
Okay.
But please continue.
The other one is a beastmaster. Beastmaster. You have an animal companion that fights alongside you.
Ooh.
You can use some of their powers.
cool too.
This is the draw to D&D. Like
I'm going now. I'm
any-
going with that second
The
one.
Beastmaster?
Yeah.
All right.
yeah.
What kind of beast
Yeah.
would you like? Do you want a
Wolf.
wolf? All right.
Definitely.
All right.
Wolf. Yeah.
Get the wolf.
Is that the golden compass that they have?
It's like Apollo, but better behaved.
All right, and that's good for you for now. All right, so let's go next to Megan the Druid.
you said cologne.
You just smell
Like,
so
ooh.
good.
Hypnotize the
I'm gonna
creature.
have my druid scent. Some candles to burn while we play.
It smells like patchouli.
Druid again. Particularly strong today. Megan.
I'm bringing Febreze.
All right.
Take care of that.
The primary benefit that you're going to get as a druid is the ability to cast druidic spells, and I'll give you a spell list. You can kind of pick some from. The other thing that you're going to be able to do is assume the shape of an animal, so you can basically transform yourself into different types of animals. To start, it tends to be smaller animals like a wolf or like a dog or something like that. So keep that in the back of your head. And then you will also have to choose a druid circle. There's the circle of the land or the circle of the moon. The circle of the land is more about kind of keeping the old wisdom. You cast more spells, that kind of thing. The other one, the circle of the moon, is you're guarding the wilds. You're protecting the animals that are out in the wilds, preventing civilization from overrunning. They tend
That's the
to.
one I want.
Yeah, you're when you change into an animal, you're more powerful, so it does kind of fit what I would see. So, circle of the moon. All right, and yeah, that's basically. That's all we have to decide for you right
Henry's gonna love you.
now. Mom, you're protecting me.
You're dog too, Mom.
All right, let's go to the rogue. All right, sneaky rogue. So you're going to have the ability.
Sneaky Rogue, new nickname.
That'd be my name.
Rogues have the ability to pick locks, kind of find traps, look for things that other people miss. So you're going to have that ability. The other thing you can do is you have the ability to sneak attack, they call it. When somebody's, like, say Matt's in battle with something, you can sneak up behind it and attack it and do a lot more damage. So it's to your ability to kind of hide, get into position, and then attack from the shadows. So that kind of thing is going to be your forte.
Dishonorable.
Right.
No.
What are you
All's
necessarily.
fair.
The rogue
All's
is
fair.
dishonorable.
Rogue takes every advantage. Right. Not necessarily
see.
dishonorably.
Nicely put.
Robin Hood was a rogue.
Right.
Thank you, Brendan.
Boom.
Robin
Who's
Hood.
English?
As some say,
He gets points for that.
we are very similar to our day job.
Right. So you're going to have some abilities to kind of escape combat very quickly without endangering yourself. So you'll have some of that stuff. The other thing you're going to do is decide what type of rogue you want to be. Do you want to be a thief? Do you want to be, light fingers, pick things up and kind of forget that you did? There's also the assassin. The assassin is
That one.
the one that... All right, well, that was definitive.
Jameson takes a step back.
So you're at your most deadly when you get the drop on your opponent. So you're going to have some advantages to your sneak attacks and that kind of thing. So you're going to be all about putting yourself in a position to attack from the shadows, sneak up behind somebody, get the drop on them, and you'll depend on your kind of compatriots to keep them busy so you can get in a position. They tend to be the finishers. They will come in and finish somebody off. So just keep that in mind. Sneaky. And finally, the Paladin. Paladin's one of my favorite character classes, so well chosen.
I didn't cheat. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Who have you paid off? So,
You don't want to know.
so Paladins, they are holy. They are the holy warriors. They're the arm of the church or the arm of the religions that go out and fight the battles for the church. You have the ability to sense the presence of aberrations or evil in many different forms. Like it just disturbs you so that you can pick up on it and find it very quickly. You also have the ability to do something called lay on hands. So with your touch, you're going to be able to heal heal your compatriots or yourself. You get the spirit fingers. You also have the ability to cure wounds. Neutralize poisons. So if somebody gets poisoned, you can use your ability to heal them. You'll also be able to cure disease. It's a very limited ability. It's based on you can only do so much a day, but you have that ability by default.
Cool.
The other thing you're going to choose is a fighting style. There is defensive, where you're primarily about taking blows and kind of keeping everybody else safe. There's the dueling paladin, where you're all about fighting with one hand on a weapon, and usually a sword or something like that. The other ones you can choose great weapon fighting, where you're using a big old claymore or a big battle axe to really do some damage. And the last one is a protection paladin. Protection paladins tend to use shields. They kind of stay with the group, and they'll lend their defense to other people in the group to kind of keep them safe.
So, like with her character, are you saying she might need somebody to go distract someone
Exactly.
so she can sneak?
So you'd be fighting next to Matt, who's using archery, and somebody goes to strike him, and you can intercede with your shield on his behalf.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Also, it
Just
sounds
saying.
like I could be
Just
safer
saying.
that way. So
It's
I'm
true,
gonna go
yeah,
with that.
All right, so you're
Get
going
my-
protection style. All right. And you also have the ability to do it with what they call a divine smite. You can call on the power of your religion to do like extra damage when you hit one of your foes. So basically you're imbuing your weapon with holy power and really knocking somebody out. So
Cool.
you'll have that ability. You're going to have some spells. They're more healing type protection spells. And the other thing, at 3rd level, you're going to swear a sacred oath. The oath determines what type of paladin you are. And the ones that you can choose from are the Oath of Devotion, which basically ties you to the ideals of justice, virtue, order. Like you're the protector, you're fighting on the side of right and good, and you're trying to keep order in the universe.
Sounds good.
The other one is
What's the other
the
one?
Oath of Vengeance.
Sounds
Your
not
paladin
like you.
is all about making sure that the people that are wronged get punished, or the people that have done wrong get punished. You're more about vengeance than you are about upholding light and order and that kind of thing.
And it's between the two.
Yeah, those are the two that I would go with.
I'm gonna take option 1.
Okay, the Oath of Devotion. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Vengeance
classic.
feels like I wouldn't be able to
Oath
get in that
of
mindset.
Devotion.
That would be expensive.
That'd be great. You stole my Kit Kat.
So you have a couple tenets that guide you as in your Oath of Devotion. Honestly, you have honesty. You don't lie or cheat. Your words are your promise. You basically tell the truth and stick by your words. You are courageous. You never fear to act. You never kind of hesitate in the face of danger. You have compassion. You aid others, protect the weak, punish those who threaten them, and you have a sense of duty. Like
You said duty.
it's gonna be that kind of game. Yeah, it really is. So just keep those kind of in the back of your head. Like you are all about doing right, and
Yep.
can do
it
that.
kind of goes along with what
She's
we're
all
trying to
those
do
things.
with this game.
Seems
so.
very opposite of my normal character, but I'm gonna
Wow.
try.
I think so.
Okay. The other thing you're going to get to do is you have the ability to channel your god, channel divinity, they call it. And there are 2 things you can do with that. You can imbue one of your weapons with holy power on a more long-term basis than your smite will do. The other thing you can do is turn the unholy. So if you're fighting undead or evil, you have the ability to repel that evil with your holy might. So it's pretty cool.
That's pretty good.
And you'll be able to do that a certain number of times a day. All right.
Just a few times a day.
I got it. Sounds wonderful.
So that is kind of the rough sketch of your character.
Question.
Yes.
How many levels are there?
I think
Infinite? Just goes on
I mean,
forever?
most people.
Within the rules for 5th edition,
20.
there's 20.
Yeah.
But the strength of D&D is you can really do whatever you want.
Huh.
So if you wanted to play a 100th level game, you could.
Huh.
You just have to make it up.
I see, so you have to devise it yourself.
Right.
Yeah, there are level things written out in this book up to 20. And levels, accumulating levels tends to be quick at the beginning as you're starting to learn stuff, and then slow down as the levels get higher. So you have to fight more and more enemies, or more powerful enemies. Any other questions you guys have, or comments, or anything like that? Nothing?
Can I chime in with a question?
You may.
So, we wanted to do individual interviews with you guys to put, like, you guys did introductions, but we want to redo that and put a camera on, specifically on you. We'll edit it all together so that there's a introduction for you guys. If you guys know the name of your character, so that you can introduce your character as well, we don't necessarily have to do that in this one, but we should also get like a reel that we can be like, I'm playing the Danger Ranger, and or hey, I'm playing Ranger Danger. I know what I'm doing. I'm off to kill the undead for my wife.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. And then all other things that I wanted to do. Do you want miniatures to use for the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if
Apparently, yes.
you guys do, there's a couple things that I'm going to want. We can certainly do that. I'm going to need you have a wolf companion, so we'll need not only for your character, but we'll need a wolf, which we can do.
That would be my expectation.
You can change shape, so I'm going to need a couple.
It'll be a fox.
Okay.
Cute.
I don't need wardrobe or makeup. It's like that to man of wolf.
So you'll be able to change shape into multiple different areas, but you are
Yeah, you can basically.
you are fox is what you normally.
Is my go-to change.
Okay. So we have to come up with a fox miniature. That's a challenge.
It's your everyday animal.
Fox in the forest.
Animal
a
store.
fox, right? So
Yeah.
we'll do that,
Store, dollar store.
and I'll. Yeah, and then we can also, if you want, we can come up
Morphing.
with spell cards and stuff to give these guys props.
Yeah, I think we have some in the group that we can use.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that'll make it easier.
Um,
We want all the props.
We also have,
Yeah.
I have dice
I
for
can bring
each
my own stats.
person to use.
Okay.
I feel like I should have one. My assassin character.
You probably
Has anybody come up with a name yet? No?
No.
Name is the
Is
toughest
there
part.
anything
Yeah.
that people typically like tools for?
There
For
is there are
guidance.
So,
infinite
In
random
the player's
name
handbook, there are
generators.
suggestions of names. Some people name their characters by themselves. You could Danger is a perfectly great name. Sneaky
burrito.
or Sneak Girl or whatever.
Yeah.
Sneaky Pete.
There is no
There's no wrong
D&D
answer.
There is no. We're not writing like a novel here. We're here to have fun. So if
Yeah.
you want a tongue-in-cheek name, that's great. If you want a more serious name, that's great.
Yeah.
There is no wrong answer.
I think of danger should be my.
Middle name.
As they say.
Right, I'm going with danger because I'm not going to think of anything better than
Danger the Ranger.
that. Danger.
So
It's spelled
it's-
with 2 N's.
Nice.
Oh, it's dangerous.
Danger.
Like, is he reckless then, or is he like? How did he get the
He-
name Danger?
He's what's the opposite of risk averse? I suppose that's reckless, is it? Adventurous.
Very.
He's,
He's hunting undead.
but he's also a loner.
Oh no.
Well, yeah.
I've
What
already
about
called
his
that.
wife?
Well,
Did he fight the zombies?
That's
The
why
lone
he's
danger?
undead.
She's alone a lot too.
It's better if he's out hunting the undead. Don't come back till you killed 20 zombies.
that's about right.
That's awesome.
Hey, what?
Should it be like a long name, short name? Doesn't matter.
You're going to be saying, you'll probably be saying it multiple times, or I'll be saying it multiple times, so be nice.
The first name I thought of when I think of elf is Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn?
Nice.
How-
First
how do you
elfish
spell it?
name. I have no idea. Anyway, you
Just Gwendolyn. Okay.
I love that name.
It's a
Good
nice
name.
name.
It's like a little elf.
So what's a good adjective to describe her? If you're putting one adjective that's like her personality buttoned up.
The just.
Pure.
I'm still down with
Jeez.
sassy.
Yeah, she's the sassy elf. She's the
Sassy.
high
The
priestess
sassy.
sassy elf.
Big-hearted.
Watch out.
All right.
Sassy pants.
Sassy, yeah. Gwendolyn,
Gwendolyn.
sassy pants. the
Sassy
elf.
Pants.
The first. My grandmother.
The third. Oh no, you're
Long
thinking my
line of
grandmother.
I should have been
Gwendolyn.
Mimi.
The a sassy.
Should have been
Yeah,
Mimi.
little sassy pants.
Any ideas? You guys are both playing halflings. I'm going to run through a quick list of typical halfling names, and if you see something, you
Squish
like it,
together.
or
This is your
you know
chance
what?
to be Millie.
Aww.
Are you male or female?
Female.
Okay, just checking. So, and there is actually a random name generator. If you want to roll for your name, you're welcome to do that.
But you still have veto power.
It's up to you.
I'll roll. Yeah.
All right. So to roll, what you're going to do, you're going to roll this one and this one. So this represents a 1 to 100 roll. So you've got this is a 1.
Okay.
All right. No, that's a
10.
That's a 10. No, that's a 1. That's
One
a
die
1.
is the 10 spot, the other die is the 1.
All right. So roll
I'll
those.
just roll those. Okay. Maintaining veto power.
Right.
Dun, 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 dun.
So that is a 51, which comes up with Merla.
Merla. Ouch. No gracias.
No, por favor.
I can see it being a
But
lot
I
better.
just got a new nickname at the office.
Merla.
Change all your sounds.
Merla.
Merla.
You
How
can
do we
roll
know
it.
it's
Roll
fig?
it. Fig? That's a
Oh,
good halfling
where
name.
did that come from?
She has been planning that for like 2
Yeah,
months.
I just
Yeah,
wanted
she's
to
like,
sound
"Wait till I have
impressive.
What
So
and what is
beautiful.
your adjective?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. You can think about it. Think about your skills.
Yeah.
Druid.
Or if there was a actress playing Fig in a movie, who would it be? That's also a fun place to start.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know.
Mysterious. Some pretty mysterious people.
Druids are, yeah.
I've never met one.
Or have.
Joke's on you. We're all druids.
Is that what you're trying to tell us?
I don't know. I need to get in touch with my character.
It's okay. You don't have to.
I need a minute.
Yeah.
Kate,
What?
Yeah. Do you want to be Merla?
Pressure's
you
on.
can have it.
Merla.
Roll the dice, Kate.
Some other sample halfling female names: Bella, Blossom, Stacy, Nora,
Stacy's
Pearl,
mom.
Delilah.
Kithri, Lavinia,
Stealth.
Ginny, Stella,
Stealth.
Stealth the Rogue, Stealth the Assassin
You
Rogue.
just got so serious.
All right. And what's your
I like it.
what's your adjective? Murderous, evil, vindictive. Just trying to spitball here.
I don't want to be like all
I'm not all evil.
all like
those.
blood and rage, but I just
It just comes so natural to me.
Placid.
I'm pretty fond of not all evil.
Right.
Stealth, the not all evil rogue.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Completely.
Not all
I use my powers for good, right?
That's
I'm
fine.
fighting for
It's-
bad guys.
Yeah, it's completely. I mean,
I'm
just
a
because
bad
you're
guy
an
assassin.
assassin, you're not
Right.
necessarily I
It's
go
like-
kill dictators. It's
What's the character, the TV show where he kills serial killers?
oh Dexter.
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 Maybe
His
that
name?
should be my name.
Dexterina.
I don't know.
We'll leave it at stealth for now. If you come up with something else, we
I
can
felt
change
so
it.
great.
Thank you.
That's no problem. My name is Jameson. I am the dungeon master of this fine adventure. So that means that I will be playing basically all the parts, telling the story, creating the monster, creating the worlds. Everything that happens is because of me.
How long have you been playing D&D?
I've been playing D&D, I think, since I was 8 years old. I'm 44, so a long time.
1 million years.
Yes, forever.
Round it up.
Next question.
What is the nerdiest thing that you do?
I would say this is probably the nerdiest thing I do. When that's fine. I do enjoy it. So.
How did you get involved with Extra Life?
Well, that's a good question. I started playing board games here at Crossroad Games, and I met a bunch of people. I've been watching Will Wheaton's tabletop show. Really engaged me in the board game world. I'd never really taken part in that, and I decided that maybe I could try to give something back. So I organized a originally it was a 30-hour tabletop game marathon. It was a little bit long the first time.
Because 24 isn't long.
It's like, we'll just start it open and go to close the next day. No big deal. And it was amazing to me how much people wanted to get involved. That first year we were actually playing for a different charity. It was called Child's Play, which is a charity created by the guys from Penny Arcade that buys games and stuff for children's hospitals across the country, across the world, I think. And through that, I reached out to the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital to see if I could get them on the list because they weren't currently. I met Kate, and she told me about Extra Life. Stealth, right. I met Stealth, the assassin.
Gonna make you business cards.
She pickpockets me.
She forced me into it at knife point. She told me about Extra Life, which seemed to really just mesh with what we were trying to do. Here we are 6 years later, over $100,000 raised, and people from across the state, across the country, doing fun stuff. So.
And your idea for this get together is to again another fundraiser for Extra
right.
Life.
So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be running this D&D game for 4 people that have never played D&D before in their lives. They all also happen to be employees of the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital in the philanthropy department. So we're tying it into Extra Life. We're going to stream the whole game, and we're going to have somebody hosting the stream that's going to be asking for donations to maybe throw some curveballs at you guys. Throw a random monster or potentially change the outcome of a dice roll. Just do some fun things to raise money.
Yes.
It will be a lot of fun. I hope you tune in and just kind of enjoy what I think is going to be an awesome experience for you guys. I'm excited to run you through your first D&D experience. Hopefully it'll be life-changing and it'll be something you want to do again. So, we're looking forward to it.
My name is Kirsten. I work for the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital in the philanthropy department. My D&D character is Gwendolyn, the sassy paladin elf, which is so exciting. I can't wait. Who I want to be. So I never played Dungeons and Dragons before, like he had said earlier. My brothers play it growing up, so I'm trying to earn some street cred with them. We'll see how it goes. And what else would you?
So, what is the nerdiest thing that you've ever done besides this?
Oh, well, when I started working at the Children's Hospital, I did have to get a Twitch account. So I have a Twitch account.
Nice.
But I would say besides that, I watch Jeopardy every night and keep track of the score. And get very competitive.
Now,
very
it
competitive.
was mentioned earlier that you guys are going to be in costume and that you were excited to make those costumes.
Yes.
So,
Costumes.
can you give us a little bit of a preview of what that's about?
Well, I would love to, but I just learned what everybody is, so I'm gonna have to.
So, can you
Take
give
some
us some
time.
experience? Give us some background of your. Have you done seamstress work before?
Oh no, absolutely not.
This is going to be
No.
great.
No, literally zero. We're talking like Velcro and super glue and maybe some duct tape.
Perfect.
I recommend tinfoil.
In tinfoil, Area 51 style. So yeah, no, that's my extent of costumes. I think I did make a dress out of duct tape in 7th grade, so
That's all you need.
we'll see.
That and your
We'll see.
enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You will succeed.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be awesome.
Hi, my name is Kate. I work at the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital, and I also work in the philanthropy department, raising money for the Children's Hospital with amazing fundraisers like Extra Life and great people like Jameson. And in this game, This is my first experience with Dungeons and Dragons, to be honest. Until I walked through the door today, I thought it was a card game, so excited about the dice. And I am Stealth, which is a rogue halfling. And
What's the geekiest thing that you've ever done?
ever?
Yeah. And this could be it.
I don't know. I used to be a very active scrapbooker.
That's pretty nerdy.
That is pretty good. My wife is a scrapbooker.
I thought you were going to say fighting with the fruit going around your head.
We did that.
That was the coolest thing.
Oh, okay.
So what is your proudest achievement in scrapbooking?
Proudest achievement.
Are you going to scrapbook Stealth's adventures?
No, I haven't even scrapbooked my children.
But you are number one.
Back to that.
By the way, I love more than anything in the world.
Yeah, so I love more than my job, just to be clear. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get out much these days,
That's
so
okay.
I'm very excited about this.
We're going to take you on an adventure.
Yes.
My name is Megan. I also work at the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital, like everybody else here almost, half the people in the room, doing fundraising to support the kids at the hospital. So I also work with the Extra Life program, and that's how I've gotten to know Jameson and the Chits and Bits team, and how I got dragged into this today.
Oh, yeah, you were really dragged.
Yeah.
Horrible.
So tell us a little bit about the character that you will be playing.
Well, my character Fig is a druid halfling, or halfling druid. I'm gonna learn that, but it's still in character development, so I don't have any good adjectives. But stay tuned for next time when we play. Teaser. Teaser.
What animal do you change into, and why did you pick that one?
I changed into a fox, and I don't know. I just knew that I changed into a fox. I walk my dog every morning when it's really dark. We get up about 4:30 and walk, and I just see a lot of fox in my neighborhood, and hear their noises. So that's what came to me.
Do you talk to them?
I don't talk to them, but I'm going to
don't
learn
you?
how. Thanks to Dungeons and Dragons. I should get a rabies shot.
So my day name is Matt Parks. I also work in the philanthropy department with these incredible people, raising money for sick kids at the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital. But I like to see myself as a ranger called Danger. Danger is my first name. And this is my first experience of Dungeons and Dragons. It won't be my last. I've already fallen in love with it. Already built an entire character. Let me tell you a little bit about Danger. So Danger, he's a loner. But he also needs people. You know, he needs the support of his friends, family. And yeah, he's a little bit mysterious. He's a little bit mysterious. In a cool way. Not creepy.
I'm so glad you brought it.
What was the rest of the question?
I don't have any more.
No. Nerdiest thing you've ever
Oh,
done.
right.
Oh, I'm a big crossword guy.
Ooh, me too.
Yeah. I'm not very good at them, but it's, I find it very therapeutic, and I learn a few words and then instantly forget them.